Should you speak Kikuyu at home?
Yeah.
Throughout?
So, Kikuyu or lugha ya taifa. No English spoken at the house. Society took care of English. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And then, okay, again, throughout college, you decided to do your master's?
So throughout college, yeah. So, at this particular time, it was a very challenging time because, of course, we were students. So my parents couldn't work. They got a stipend from the university for about $200 a month, and $200 equivalent of about 20,000 Kenya shillings in today's, but not enough definitely to cover our day-to-day experiences or needs in Texas. So, we took on our jobs, all of us. So, my dad was doing his master's, my mom was also in school, we were in school, and I remember, we'd come home from school and we would go work. We would go accompany our parents. So my mom at the time was doing janitorial work. She was cleaning offices. So studio like this after hours, we would go in at 11 p.m. and help her clean, and go back and do your homework, and go to school, start all over, and that's what got us through school. That's what paid for the bills. That's what for the tuition, and we ended up finishing through that struggle. And then in 2003, my mom was the first one to finish, so she finished her school, and we kind of breathed a sigh of relief as a family. There was actually income coming in, and then my dad finished in 2006, and a bigger sigh of relief, and now it was just the kids who were left in school.
Wow. Yeah. And throughout all this time, you didn't regret having left Elbergen and the good life, or the easy life, if you will? You didn't regret anything there?
No, I didn't. For me, I always viewed, at least based on the culture and the indoctrination that my mom put on us, was, you view life as a journey filled with experiences, and you can choose to be retrogressive and backward in saying where you came from and all this other stuff, or you can choose to take advantage of that opportunity and progress forward, and that's what we decided to do. Counting people from Elbergen, we wouldn't have been the ones who would have gone, or from Nyahururu. So we took that as an opportunity, and we pushed on through. There were some very difficult years, but we emerged, and then now we're able to tell others, look, this is where the river is deepest. Don't cross here, cross at this particular part. The water is shallower.
And you went all the way to a PhD.
Yes, yeah.
Good Lord.
So yeah, in my family, the joke was Monday through Friday you're in school, Saturday it's your free time, Sunday you're in church, right? And so that's what we did 24/7 until the age of 27 when I finished my PhD. So I knew school from the time I was 2.5 when I started. So 25 years of school, and then I finished one day and I'm like, okay, now what?
yeah. What do I do now?
Yeah.
So you started teaching?
Yeah. So I started teaching. I was a college professor at quite a young age. I was 22 when I started teaching at university. At that particular time, I taught history at a university called Wiley College. And then at my university, they offered me a teaching fellow, and I taught public finance, budgeting, political science, and economics, and did that for a number of years, and then went to Southern Methodist University, where I taught principles of public policy, and eventually 2 years again at Wiley College as an assistant professor. So finished my teaching in 2013. Right at the same time when I was finishing my PhD. So I finished the PhD and then, applied for the Young Professionals Program at the World Bank, and, got in class of 2013 or the cohort of 2013 rather, and that's where I've been since.
And no discrimination even there at that level?
No discrimination at that level. Of course, I think institutions, be they even universities, are a reflection of society at large. Yeah. So I'm not saying that there are no challenges. There are definitely challenges. And the thing is, what are you going to do about those challenges? And I find that a lot of institutions, especially now with the Black Lives Matter movement and the things that are going on around the globe, are very sensitive to this and realize that a change is needed. And, we have to be the vanguard of that change in society. So I take a lot of pleasure in that, in seeing that change having come. Growing up as a black man in Central Texas was definitely had its own ups and downs and challenges, particularly in the small town that I lived in.
What was the biggest challenge for you? Tell me. Small town Texas.
Small town Texas. Well, I don't want to be, extreme, but, getting shot would be one of them, right? So,
that's pretty extreme.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was. I mean, it's I've had a gun pulled at least once or twice on me, just by happening to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, or rather the wrong color at the wrong time.
Yeah. What does one do in Texas when you get a gun pulled on? What does one do?
Well, you learn to be, what's the word? It's not the time to beat your chest, so to say. At least, I can persuade you on tolerance later when you're not holding a gun. At this particular time, I am going to do what I can to preserve my life. So, I had a friend of mine, and going to a petrol station to just filled up, and you're going in, and he happened to have a hoodie on, and as he was walking in the door, he was pulling out his hoodie, and the cashier pulled a gun on him. He says, "I don't want you in my store, turn around." Completely scared, walked back into the car. So those experiences, I don't want to say they're common, but they do happen, particularly to people of color.
Yeah.
And thankfully it's becoming in the system is noticing that these are things that we need to change, and I'm glad to be a part of that change as well, in terms of the information aspect and teaching as well, but it's challenging.
Yeah.
But you can look at it positively. At least society is changing.
And at the same breath, the stories we hear about George Floyd and all those folks who were killed either by police or by because they were jogging in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Those are real stories.
Real stories, yeah. My wife, who you'll speak to, is white, and she's sensitive to this matters as well. She's been with me when we're in the car, and she would ask me, "Why are you acting a certain way?" I was like, "But the police." It's like, that's why I'm acting in a very serious, non-threatening.
Yeah.
You just have to, and it's actually an unfortunate reality, and hopefully we will change it. But yeah, it is a lot of African Americans and a lot of people of color are really going through some hard times in that country.
Like you said, unfortunate reality,
Yeah.
but and we always hope for the best. But
Yeah.
what? 244 years after independence.
Yeah.
1861 was the Civil War. So what? 150 plus years after the Civil War.
Yeah.
They're still discriminating openly.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Because there's some aspect where I remember the first time, my first experience with racism in the United States was about 2 months after I had been there, and we were 3 young men, young boys actually, because we were 12, and we were playing. And we were in school, and we were talking about what type of positions we would want to be in government. Not the type of games 12-year-olds play, but at least that's what we were doing. And I said, what, for this particular role, I'll be the president. And then the gentleman, the young kid, says, you can't be the president. And I said, why not? And I'm thinking he was going to say, oh, you don't have enough experience. And he goes, because you're black. And I said, what does that have anything to do with it? He says, well, we've never had a black president. This was 1998.
Yeah.
Right, thankfully,
20
years later, right, changed, and we did have a black president. Yeah.
That's tough growing up, man. That's tough growing up.
Yeah.
So, how did you end up at the World Bank?
So I knew I wanted to work in development, the bank, the UN, or the IMF. So, and during my master's program, I had studied, development, and in my PhD, I was looking at subnational issues, particularly at the municipal level. So, I cast a wide net. I thought I was going to go into academia. I didn't expect to go into the bank. So I cast a wide net, applied at the bank, and got a call, interviews, and ended up there. And I was like, wow. And at the same time, I was applying in universities as well. So I was fortunate in that at that particular time I had a plethora of opportunities to choose from. So I had a few universities that were interested. UNC Chapel Hill being one of them, Cleveland State up in Ohio, and then the bank, and I chose the bank. And
the bank being very international, of course, people from around the world. They didn't have a problem with your turban?
No. I ended up being no, it would never come up. Out of curiosity, not professionally. No one at the bank, has ever said, "Hey, why are you wearing a turban?"
Yeah.
But my friends are curious, and they ask, and those are normal human being questions, and I answer. But I'm not the only one with a turban at the bank. Well, I'm the only Mukurino, but there are other Sikhs and other people. Yeah.
Wow.
The only black one with a turban, I guess. Yeah.
What a story. What a story. Listen, I'm going to take a break, come back. Because there's so much more we want to talk about, man.
Certainly.
And your wife is here as well.
Yeah, she's here. She's a beautiful lady over there.
How long you been married?
7 months. She reminds me, yeah, 7 months. You're young.
Newlyweds.
Newlyweds, yeah.
Is she going to be a Mukurino as well? I have to ask her.
By you? No, I don't think so. No. I if I wanted to marry a Mukurino, I would have married a Mukurino. But from my family and my experiences, the heart and discrimination, for us were not issues. So I said, she was a girl who I admired, and the fact that she was Norwegian had nothing to do with it, and the fact that I was Mukurino also was not an issue for her.
Yeah, but many Mukurinos stick to their own, if you will. You marry within.
You marry within, but I guess I don't find that. I find that in the same manner as you find Maasais marrying Maasais. It's or Kikuyu marrying Kikuyus. It's not necessarily that it's the right thing to do. In fact, it's not. It's not. We're saying that if you marry outside the faith, you're leaving the faith.
Right.
It's just that it's what people do. You kind of you fall in love with people who you tend to hang out with, right? So or people you associate with.
Yeah.
Right.
And people in Nyahururu didn't have a problem with this.
No, if they do, they should let me know. But no, nobody has voiced concern yet.
If they do, that's their problem.
Yeah, if they do, that's their problem, right? My God does not tell me that I have to marry a Mukurino, nor does he say that I have to marry a Kenyan or a Norwegian. It's just I picked, and this is who I ended up with.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good man. We're going to take a break, come back. Dr. David Wachira, folks. If he's not inspired you yet, I don't know what will, but we'll get more when we come back. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff. At Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag is JKLIVE. JKLIVE takes a break. We'll be back in a moment. Good job.